It's on. We got my buddy Matt Landman. We're going to be hanging out. I think you know the drill. This is the 5th time. We've gone a full moon cycle on this shiz, and I keep getting more stoked every time we do it. So welcome to Vibrant. If you're new to it, this is my extra weekly show where instead of getting like so super serious like we do on InnerVerse, not that it isn't fun, we're here to be totally free on this one and also bring you guys in the audience to the conversation. So don't forget, there's links in the comment section of the YouTube video and in the show description and YouTube where you can hop into our Vibrant call-in channel on Telegram, leave me a voicemail, put a video in there, give me some memes. I'd actually love to see like some top shelf memes in there that we can just pull on screen and laugh about. So we got a lot of options, but Matt, my man, welcome back. It's been too long since you and I got to be on a podcast together. My bad, dude. How you doing?
Oh, no, it wasn't you. It was also me. And it's been over a year and I've changed so much. I feel like the world has changed so much and we all have in that year span, expanse of time. And I wish I was watching the show. I'd dump a bunch of memes on you right now because I've got a lot. Actually, I don't think anybody's got more memes than me, just saying.
Hit me with some choice cuts, dude. Also want to say some hellos to the chat. We got Kabir, who says he just watched Frankenskies again as a prep. We got False Reality Check Podcast, Buffalo Rambler, and Legs. You guys rule. Lehman, Dollins Films, Peter in the chat. Thank you, all you people, beautiful folks, and Alan, of course. Alan says he's got some eye-level memes. Depends on how tall everyone is. Sounds like something Alan would say. Anyway, I cut you off. I had to say hi to the homies. You know how it is.
No, that's great. And I love the reference there that he just made. But how are you doing, brother? What's up with you?
If you're looking at it, I'm so like on fire lately that I didn't wear a shirt under my. Also, it's my half birthday, so I'm wearing half a birthday suit. You feel me?
Cool. That's really cool.
6 months from my birthday.
No, I know what half birthday is.
Some people didn't get it today when I said that.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of stuff. So hey, I saw the selenite. I saw your selenite right there just now, and I know you like stories, and I want to share a random, like totally off the cuff story with you about selenite. I've never told you this story. I must not.
No, I can't believe it because it's my favorite crystal. How have we not gone here before? All right, good place to start.
It's kind of weird and personal and amazing. And I mean, I kind of dump my life. I'm like, I'm an open book. I pour my heart out onto the internet, Facebook and here with people like yourself. So here I am. I'm an open book. So if anyone wants to ask any like questions, feel free. I'm seriously like all yours kind of thing. So Chance, selenite. So and to each his own. Everyone has their own life, and I'm not a victim. I'm just a product of my life, and I'm happy the life I lived, even if it was a little harder at times or whatever. It made me to who I am. Whatever. I'm Matt. I'm 41 almost. On October 23rd, I'll be 41. And let's see. I had a dad, and he was an alcoholic, and I mean, he was not a good dad, and he ended up passing away when I was 26, and he 53 at the time. So and that's another story. It's amazing. I hadn't seen him in a decade, and I went to Ukraine, and I was told I had to go see him, and I saw him, and then he died right after. It was something else. But that's another whole crazy story, dude. I was chasing a girl to Ukraine. So one story at a time. So
it's okay. We can get complicated.
Check this out. This is amazing. This is an amazing story. I was in my mid 30s. I was like 35, and I had a girlfriend at the time, and her daughter was like very like playful, like she was a wizard, magical. Kids play, and they are magic, even if they don't know it. You know what I mean? Like the souls that are incarnating right now, that are embracing the truth, they're here to fight, and their eyes are glowing, and they're gonna be here to like bring it home, or at least line it up for the next generation. So we really have to honor them. They're amazing. So this one day I was laying down, and she had like a cloak on and picked up the stick of selenite and was just joking around and over my head. That's so great. Someone's wearing a Sparrow blanket. Yeah, I've got Sparrow blankets. What's up, people? So we'll talk about that in a minute. So this 8-year-old girl waved a selenite big stick over my head with these intentions, like saying abracadabra or whatever. And boom, I had this memory flashback, bro. It was the realest thing I've ever had regarding crystals. And I grew up thinking crystals, roll your eyes, whatever. I'm telling you, this is real. And the memory flashback was my dad every night. He was like Italian. He was like, come over here and give me a kiss. Good night. You know, he'd make me give him a kiss on the lips. Good night. And like probably, you know, thousands of those for years. And I blocked that memory out, bro, because I had a rough childhood too. You know what I mean? Like the good gets kind of shoved away with the bad, and then you don't remember any of it. It's kind of how the mind works, I guess. But unreal that a child with a selenite wand could unlock good childhood memory. It was so real. I mean, everyone's like, oh yeah, right, maybe. But no, this is something else. So,
I know about it.
Yeah, what's up? So that's it. That's that story. So that's just breaking the ice. We can talk about the moon though. I want to talk.
A hella good icebreaker. I want to talk. I want to talk about it for a sec. Like my entire ability to do energy work on people. I didn't go to like some seminar and get attuned by a Reiki master or whatever, where they're like, "Ooh, now you've got it. You've got the juice." For me, I picked up one of these and started doing that exact thing, holding it like around my head. I could feel it right now. It's like electric, man. I could feel it hooking into my ears. It makes a sound. There's all kinds of stuff to it. And that was the first thing ever in my life that I can think of, unless I forgot about it, that woke me up to what my internal energy feels like. And then that led me on all kinds of paths. Qigong refined it, but the selenite, oops, just put Marcus Allen's comment up there. Storks bring babies, not Ukraines. Yeah, you shouldn't chase a girl to Ukraine. You won't get a baby. Anyway.
No, she came here, and after her visa ran out for like a year, then she left, and I thought I could go back and swoop her off her feet. I'm a hopeless kind of. That's
yeah.
Me.
I know, man. I know how it is. Hopeless romantic. It's a great gift to your life, and also it fucks shit up.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It gives you passion and drive, and like here I am. Like I'm an activist. I got a heart. You know, like I think it's all in the charts. Like everyone that does my thing, the whole chart, they're like, "Oh, well, this makes so much sense, mama."
I get that too. This whole thing is North Node stuff that I'm doing with the broadcasting. So before I even knew what North Node was, I was already trying to point myself that direction. So probably a good sign. But y'all, get some selenite. It's one of the cheapest crystals out there. I mean, it's customary as a Midwestern guy that whenever I talk about something that I've purchased, to say what a good deal I got on it. And it's just a thing we do. And
that's actually funny and true.
Selenite, though, I have it all over the place. And it's like, if I could describe it in the simplest way, it's like burning sage without smoke. It's just a light transmitter. This crystal also, they use it to figure out fiber optics for all those gnarly electronic signals that we send around. It's powerful stuff.
Very cool.
So what about the moon? What are you thinking? Because that was quite a full moon that we had there. Also, people, don't be afraid to ask Matt questions about his life, the universe, or anything. He literally asked for it. So, you know, hit us in the comments.
So I think it's amazing the age that we are in. It's an age of wisdom, but it's only this age of wisdom and truth because we're in polarity and dualism. And it's literally this age of falsehoods, or they're trying to make it that, you know, but we have the flip side, which is truth. So it's like it's
just a perfect, it's badass. Or if you shine it through the side, then it lights up the whole crystal. But if you shine it through like the grain, it's just a laser shot. Sorry, we're getting distracted by the comments. Get in there, buddy. Continue.
Well, you know what's interesting about like light, for instance, light travels at 186,000 miles per second. But it'll go through things like glass, like a huge thick pane of glass, or even water, and it slows down, right?
It's almost like they're lying to us about things like the speed of light.
Yeah, no, listen, it slows down. And then when it exits that, say it goes through water and then it exits it or whatever. It's like, goes through glass and it comes out the other end. It speeds back up. It goes back to its original speed. So what is that? It seems like it has like some deeper properties than we're told. So it's really cool how open-minded I've been recently. Like anything's on the table when we're getting our timeline hijacked. To what ends? It's really a transhumanism agenda if you really think about it. And that's why I'm trying to bring hope to the next generation with my clothing line to protect them from freaking 5G and whatever. I mean, my 3G phone just got a notification 2 days ago that it wasn't going to be able to be on 3G anymore. There's no such thing as 3G anymore. It's all got to be 4G, LTE. Yeah, what's up? SparrowProtectionClothing.com. And I just made this logo. I'm so stoked about it. Let's just talk about this for a second. So this is my silver hoodie. I've got black hoodies now, but I haven't dropped this logo. But the
it's
logo,
black and white, but it feels gold. I feel some serious gold coming off that.
Oh, what's up? Thanks. So the logo, so Sparrow is a family name, like a last name. So I'm unable to like trademark it, like anyone's last name, like Smith. And in that, it has like a history and like a crest, and every family crest has like a background. So I started researching family crests and heraldry and all of that. And this family crest is going to get more detailed as time goes on. Like a crescent moon, it represents silver, and it'll probably work its way onto the family crest. But the Landman, who I am, family crest, it has a rooster on it. And the rooster, it symbolizes the casting away of darkness, fighting evil, like straight up. That's what rooster symbolizes, is fighting evil. So I was like, screw it, I'm making this Sparrow logo, this rooster for now. It's going to be...
It's hella good, dude. I'm
bringing the
dawn.
Bringing the dawn, casting away darkness, fighting evil, and that's going to be like the motif for now. But also, it's all a work in progress, and I hope that everyone can end up rocking some Sparrow gear, because I mean, I've had the most amazing, brother, you wouldn't believe it, these feedback from people. I call people thinking they're gonna, I call them like just for a reason or another, and I get them on the phone, and I'm waiting for them. I'm always expecting the worst, and I've gotten these raving, amazing reviews. This one dude thought he was coming down with COVID. He was getting sick. He knows his body. He's totally dialed in, very health nut. And he said, I was getting sick, snot running out of my nose, all this stuff. I put on your freaking t-shirt, and 10 minutes later, I had no symptoms. And he said, I mean, that kind of lines up with EMF, radiation causing symptoms and whatnot. I don't think that I do think that your body can get bogged down. I mean, it's a long story, but
it's a yes and, it's not it's a yes and. There's all kinds of things in the mix when it comes to what gets us sick, but illness is always the same thing. It is a lack of electrical flow in your field and a breaking of the internal feedback loop communication system from one part of your body to the other, which is what prevents it from doing its own job of cleaning up wherever there's an issue. So it's like that simple. And then that's why, even though there's a million illnesses out there that they name and diseases and shit, there's like 10 symptoms. They're lying to us. It's just electricity. So yeah, the cleaning up, the shielding yourself from all that dirty would be a definite way to help out. I mean, you gotta get grounded somehow. Go outside and walk barefoot. Do it.
Well said, brother. I love it. And I love that you have these podcasts and you mingle with all these awesome, bright minds to learn all this awesome stuff, because what you just said is so true. You know what I'm saying? And then along with that, we can learn about grounding and the crystals and all this jazz.
You see my logo for Vibrant?
It's great. Oh, cool.
Electricity?
Yeah.
It's in there, dude.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Jenny, part of our InnerVerse chat on Telegram, she made that for us. Super good.
Well, I always say this, and I'll say it again, and I love this, and everyone loves when I say this, is truth is a frequency. It's a vibration, okay? And as you elevate to that frequency and resonate with that frequency of truth, more truths are on that vibration, on that frequency, awaiting you right there. There's even a Bruce Lee quote about plateaus, and your friends are waiting for you on the next plateau, and you just have to elevate your consciousness and your vibration to that next level to await where they await you, and you got to leave some people behind sometime. But back to having an open mind.
I want to stop 1 second. Mm-hmm. What you just said is the most important thing everyone needs to know about life. Is that you let go all the time of what's not quite right, because the truth, what is true about life and where you're meant to be or who you're meant to know, whatever's true will be wherever you go, period. That's the nature of truth. So any people that you might have to let go, any situations you might have to leave, those archetypes will be waiting for you around the bend if you just keep moving, and they'll be healed to the degree that you have found wholeness within yourself. And it's just never ending. Keep it going. What you just said, like that needs to be mentality right now. That's the way you keep your borders strong and your will firing, is that you have no fear that letting go means losing. You lose nothing. How can you take away from that which has everything? We're the whole thing, you know? All is self. Yeah, baby. All right. That's my vibrant for number one.
No, it's really good. And I would throw in there maybe trust in the universe, or trust in God, or, whatever your higher force is, or trust in your higher self, or trust in your ancestral guidance, or just the word trust, because that's really huge nowadays, because we're guided through all sorts of things, through signs and numbers and all this stuff. I keep seeing 369, bro, like everywhere. But with that being said, this moon, I've got a bone to pick with this moon, and I have had a bone to pick with the moon ever since I was like a drunken teenager, and nobody got me, and I never was woke like that.
What is this thing?
No, I was like, I
I've been there.
wasn't trusting it, and nobody got me, and I was like, why is it so huge on the horizon? The claim is it's an optical illusion in my brain. It fills up the screen in my camera, because I was into photography. And then after a couple hours, it doesn't fill up the screen in my 35 millimeter camera. It's just like I had some intuitive logic there that I kind of vented about on drunken rambles. I remember in my early 20s, and I remember people just looking at me like I was crazy. I wasn't like an anti-vaxxer or anything like that. I didn't even know about that stuff. I was just kind of
Matt,
questioning things.
The code word since we're on YouTube is cowpoke. Because
Sorry,
vaca means cow. So we called that poison dart the cowpoke around here. That's my own favorite joke for it.
That's cool.
It's more accurate than the regular word.
I should avoid those words. I kind of get in a little tangent.
I don't care if you don't avoid it. I just like to say cowpoke because it cracks me up.
No, whatever. I got to change my vernacular to get everybody, keep everyone safe. I lost my channel from being a fucking idiot. I guess I like speaking the truth, but
you lost it from tyrants. To be fair,
well, I spoke too much about the face masks. They did not like that. And do you have a code word for that? Cow muzzle or something?
Chin diaper.
So,
face diaper?
So this is big, and this is very fascinating. Last night, so today's September 22nd, 2021, and so last night would have been the evening of Tuesday, September 21st, and it was the day after the full moon. The evening after the full moon, and they chemtrailed the crap out of the sky. And last night, when the moon progressed the sky, or went across the sky as I slept, and the moonlight filled my room as I slept, it was like chemtrail moonlight, because the chemtrail sky was so chemtrailed. It was like this crazy haze, and I had the craziest like nightmares, dude. And I swear I'm really I'm in tune with a lot, myself, nature, and all these things. And something is up with this moon and the chemtrails and all this stuff. So here's a couple things to ponder and keep on your mind as you question and wonder what the deal is with the moon. So for one, they call it the Ponzo, Ponzo effect, or Ponzo theory, or whatever. And it tells you that it's mentally in your head why the moon looks big on the horizon. The supermoon, when it comes up on the horizon, it's all huge. It's all in our head because of a reference point. It's closer to the horizon, it must be big. And it's all like we're mentally challenged. And that's the official narrative. So if you can start to wonder what that's all about, because that's how I started questioning it a couple of decades ago. So what I've really been getting into recently, and then also, you got to know that there's never a moon landing. And then they say they can't even go there now anymore. But
we destroyed that technology. It would be too hard to recreate that whole tinfoil PVC pipe monstrosity.
And a lot of people don't know that the moon faces us. There's always just one face facing us. Not a lot of people realize that.
Yeah, and it just, happens to coincidentally be the same apparent size in the sky as the sun most of the time.
Yeah,
just by accident.
and
Nothing to see here.
mathematically, if those two things being what they claim, like, and for them to get in front of each other and then transgress the United States and have like a great American eclipse, that's like mathematically challenged. That's statistically like impossible for what they say was going on with it all.
93 million miles away is the sun. That's amazing.
Right. And no,
93. There's something to that number. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to talk about that sometime.
There's a lot to it. So just the moon. Well, and then also the moonlight is like the opposite of sunlight. It's cool light. There's people who do experiments in the shade with thermometers versus the full moonlight, and the moonlight is cool. And they call it lunacy for a reason, like crime rates go up and lunatic and all this. But also that white light coming off the moon, it is it makes
it's cold.
Decompose. It makes things decompose, and it makes
it's colder too. Like if you put a thermometer out in moonlight versus in moon shade, you get colder temperatures in the moonlight.
That's what I just said. So
yeah, sorry, reading chat.
So also the moon makes things decompose, like bacteria, and actually makes bacteria and fungus and mold grow. Okay, sunlight is yellow, and it does the exact opposite. It makes things not necro, whatever, break down and die, and it makes fungus and mold die. All right, but I'm just thinking about our light source and these coincidences and all this stuff. So another thing that people don't know is the moon, it comes up about 45, 50 minutes later every day. Did you know that?
I didn't know the exact amount of time that it lagged, sort of.
But you know that it changes at least every day.
Yeah, it's gradual. Because I was just thinking about it tonight. I remember on the full moon night, around when it was getting close to dusk, the full moon was rising and just blasting in the air. And then same time of night, I was at the park tonight, and there's no moon anywhere, even though it was a cloudless, empty blue sky, even a zero chemtrail sky, dare I say. So that's pretty tight. But hey, you can work your way here. But I just wanted to point out, Peter in the chat actually dropped a question. He said, my friends and I watched a plane drop a huge black trail. Have you seen these? The first time I've seen a black one. I wonder if you got some thoughts on that. You can, get to that whenever. Just wanted you to know there's a question in the mix.
Awesome. And I definitely will answer that. So, and that's awesome that you're asking questions about chemtrails. Please ask more questions and I'll answer the chemtrail questions. Any chemtrail questions? Let me know what those questions.
Matt's your guy.
I'm the guy. Yeah, I've pondered these things.
I think he's done some research.
I've done some. Dude, yeah. The full moon brought out the mushrooms. Yep. So it's interesting that you mentioned that on the full moon, right when the sun set, there was the full moon. So I've been pondering, wait a second, every time there's a freaking full moon, in my world at least, like on these big super full moons or these harvest moons or the equinox moons or whatever, I go to a drum circle or whatever. I've done this my whole life. And right when the sun sets, it's in a song, a Cake or a Beck song. The sun goes down and the moon comes up, and everybody races for the cup. She's going the distance. She's going, yeah.
Cake. It's the Cake song.
Yeah. So either way, it's impression in us. The sun goes down, the moon goes up, but it's an opposite light source. And if we start to really think about all of this, if we start to really think about all the lies that we're fed and what the possibilities are, well, firstly, let's talk about statistics and randomness and all of this. It does not make sense that it seems like the majority of the full moons rise at dusk. It doesn't make sense that sunset and all of a sudden the sun goes down and the full moon's there. Okay, it's 50 minutes, 50 minutes later every single day. It's sometimes rising in during the day and we see it then, and that doesn't make sense, by the way, if you really think about it. But I'm not gonna go. I mean, a lot of people just are like cognitive dissonant stare when you talk to them about this stuff. Also, the moon somehow doesn't impact tides on like lakes, huge lakes, anything that's landlocked. These big seas and stuff don't have tides, but somehow these tides are pulled by the moon, and it's all kind of fishy at the
I never
end.
thought about that. Yeah, fishy is the right
There's
word.
There's a lot, and it's all about taking truth as the authority or authority as the truth. A lot of people just take authority as the truth. They Google it, that's the answer, you know? But now that my mind is wide the F open, you know, we get to talk about black chemtrails. Oftentimes black chemtrails are just chemtrails at night where it's like the sun's gone down and the moon's coming up. And black chemtrails are right there because of the shade. But also they dump crap, man. It's coal. Sometimes it's coal fly ash. So if you want to get to the nitty gritty of
what ash?
coal fly ash, which is the term for the soot out of the smokestacks of the coal burning power plants. So to understand chemtrails, you really got to know that it's all about weather engineering and weather control. And to understand weather engineering in the United States, at least, you got to know that there's a whole outfit all over the place of power plants, and they emit plumes of moisture by design, brother, like timed with systems. And those plumes of moisture are like, here you go, chemtrail guys, make this in the clouds. And dude, it's like all designed, and it's like you see a nuclear power plant, it's just like dumping out all this moisture, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. It's all designed. It's all like like designed. It's unreal. And did I say designed? It's like completely well thought out. And what happens in the smokestacks of the coal when they burn it is there's this nasty soot. Just like fluoride is a byproduct of what, like smelting like heavy metals or some crap, and they're supposed to just dispose of that crap. Instead, they get us to ingest it somehow. You know, it's in the drinking water, it's in the stupid toothpaste and whatever, maybe even freaking chemtrails. But the soot in the scrubbers, okay, when you have a coal burning power plant, so the Department of Energy is all up in this. There's a whole program of chemtrails through the Department of Energy. It's called the Tropospheric Aerosol Program. It's like hidden in plain sight chemtrail program through the DOE, straight up. And then they normalize the DOE being evil through Stranger Things on Netflix. But they really are evil. They're big oil and dirty energy. And they're actually in this whole debate on geoengineering and chemtrails and whatever, as they're launching it and normalizing it in the public eye, the controlled opposition, the opposers of geoengineering are big oil and coal. It's so ass backwards. But either way, when you burn coal, it's hella dirty, bro. It's super dirty. I picked up the word hella from the East Coast. I'm from Virginia.
I say hella too. It's just fun. It feels good. I mean, really.
I say y'all. I say
think
hella.
about what hell means. It's not hell. The only bad thing from hell is the Catholic thing, and they're the ones that are from that place. But you've got Helios, health, help. I could go on. I mean, it's a great word. Let's hella good is actually an awesome slang. Come at me.
Terrific. It's terrific. And I've traveled cross country like 12 times. I really thought I wanted to live in San Diego and LA, not so much LA, but then Northern California. Now I'm in Oregon, but I kept moving back to Virginia and the East Coast and stuff. But I think I found a home now with my home base for my company and activism and all that sort of stuff. When you burn coal, it's disgusting. And it would just make the sky black. So they have to have filters, scrubbers, aka scrubbers, that filter the coal, and it's called coal fly ash. Okay, hey, what's up, girlfriend?
I'm meaning to say hey to Lindsay because I know that you love her. By the way, Matt's the reason me and Lindsay got hooked up to be best friends. So you changed my life, Matt. Lindsay's been a humongous influence and gate opener for me. So really glad she's in here.
Cool. I can't wait to actual activists. Soon I'm going to have a featured actual activists podcast like section of the cool, hi Lindsay, of the cool actual activist podcasts on my website, actualactivist.com. And for sure, Rogue Ways with Lindsay Schwarman. I hope I didn't butcher your name. And then also Chance Garton at InnerVerse. And then this show can be featured on there, and people can come and find out about them instead of having to have me link people up, which I love doing. And this will be me linking people up, mind you, but it'll be there kind of like as an activist TV guide, which I can't wait to be making happen and come to fruition. So coal burns, and they get when they clean out those smokestacks, the filters, they have these basically bladders of soot, and it's called coal fly ash. They rinse out the filters from the smokestacks, otherwise it'd be hella dark sky and gnarly. And then they are supposed to dispose of this toxic waste. It's called coal fly ash. And instead of disposing of the toxic waste, it goes on trains, and those trains take it over to Air Force bases. And then they can filter through some really easy magnetic shit or something. They can pull out like nanoparticulate aluminum, zoop, nanoparticulate titanium, cadmium, strontium, barium, lead, blah, blah, blah.
Oops.
You know, boop, and then charge them different ways, and then go spray them through different means and have them mix in the sky. And that's pretty much how they get their chemtrail constituents. Maybe they take aluminum cans and inject it in babies and then put it in our skies. And would you say cowpokes? So
yeah, cowpoke, because vaca means cow in Latin.
I love it. I love it. So who knows about
herd immunity, right?
Yeah, I question my aluminum can recycling is what I'm saying. And I even made a funny
like you might be going to these things. Yeah, I've heard really sketchy stuff about the recycling in my area, that they just don't actually do what they say they're going to do with it at all. Mm-hmm. And I think they said it gets sent to China, and God knows what happens, but who knows? Hey, hey, did you see this the other day?
Yeah, I did. It's amazing.
What do you think of this? Real?
Yeah,
chemtrail plane accidentally blows his load on the tarmac.
Yeah, some troll was saying something that kind of
could just be like sense. You know, engine smoking, or I don't know how these things work.
Some official explanation sounded somewhat logical, but a lot of it's drones nowadays. So like a lot of this airline stuff can be misinformation stuff. It looks legit. I don't know, Lindsay, did you see this? Look, Lindsay, I'm making the rooster because it casts away evil and is the Sparrow logo. So I don't know if you saw that, Lindsay, from Rogueways. And if y'all haven't listened to Rogueways or InnerVerse, they're podcasts by Lindsay and Chance over here. So sometimes they don't filter out the coal fly ash, and they'll just dump the crap in the sky, and it'll just be a freaking black chemtrail, dude. And that's likely what you're seeing, unless the sun's gone down and it's just a shady, dark cloud. Because these heavy metals are dense. That's why they cast shadows and stuff like that. It's not, water clouds. It's dense metal clouds. And from the right angle, they would look black, even if it's just the heavy metals before they've dissipated. You know what I mean? So that's my answer to the black chemtrails. Pretty gnarly. You can share your photos on frankenskies2.com. But you want me to talk about some gnarly activism, you said.
You read my mind. Yeah. I really need to. I promised some crazy Landman adventure story or funny story, or I don't know what I'm going to get.
Well, okay, so the story
but I know that you've got experience. I've heard a few things. I've listened to you on shows for a while.
Yeah, and I'm happy to share. Pierre
asked, "Hey, Chance, I like your top. What are you wearing on the bottom?" It's my half birthday, so I'm only half dressed. That's all I'll say.
He's wearing his half birthday suit.
It's right, half birthday suit. Also, Rachel asked, I bet this is kind of a quickie answer. So she says, aluminum is not good to ingest, but is good for EMF and frequency protection. I know some bacteria can't live on it, similar to stainless steel. Not a good blocker, though. Is that what you're saying? I think it's a conductor, right? EMF.
Yeah, no on the aluminum. For protection, people use copper, but not so much because it's brittle and toxic, and you can't weave it. It's stainless steel that they weave into fabric, and then also silver that they weave into fabric to protect. Aluminum for protection. There's so much aluminum in our environment. It's crap everywhere. And you can get like a potato chip bag. And if you have horrible reception, you can put your phone in there and it might not get through that aluminum because it's aluminized. It's plasticized aluminum, they call it. Plasticized aluminum that a lot of these I'm like avoiding processed foods, bro. I'm like taking a whole new step in a different direction recently because the crap at the store has every which way. It's toxic. Like we're talking about all these toxins. So this story I've kind of kept in my pocket for a little bit. I did tell it a couple of times, but I don't like to demotivate people from becoming activists. Becoming an activist is the best thing I've ever done. And I can be an exemplary activist nowadays, because I'm about to like really get like paid and be successful and have this clothing line that I can do cool stuff with. This hoodie that I'm wearing is lined with silver fabric.
Do you feel it, man? Jupiter
It's
is what I
amazing.
hear from astrologers is that Jupiter is approaching, or Jupiter and Neptune are doing some shiz where it's like deeply held dreams and things that we've been on quest for a while are about to get just blown up beyond what we thought maybe was even possible. So I'm ready. I know that you're definitely going to pull that off, because nobody works harder than you at living the dream of freeing humanity from tyranny and restoring us to a healthy, vibrant life, man. I'm proud to be your friend. Like, when it was a huge confidence boost that you were like wanting to be my buddy outside of just my interview guest one time. You know, you have no idea. Like, you're always like, you're one of the real ones. I'm putting you on the actual activist page, bro. I feel that, like, real recognize real. You the man. You work so hard.
You're
Love
gonna
you.
come. Thanks. I love you too. And you're gonna come visit eventually, or I'm gonna come there. I know I kind of flaked. I wanted to come to the festival.
I'm about to be traveling a lot. What about Flattoberfest?
Let's talk about it. I don't know what you're referencing. Where's that?
South Carolina, 23rd and 24th of October.
Okay, that's my birthday, October 23rd, and that's not going to happen. I've still got this pinched nerve in my butt.
I'm going even if I'm the only one.
Cool. I've been dealing with this like herniated disc thing, or pulled disc, but I've been learning so much about the human body. It's amazing. Oh, what was I talking about? Oh, the activism thing. Okay, that's an easy story. So definitely I can tell that, no problem. But what was I saying?
House of Dead Dolls has got the creepiest profile picture ever. That was just on the screen.
Oh wow, yeah,
I'm scared.
I mean, I grew up with Chucky, and that shit still gets to me. Because I was a kid back then. I guess the kids nowadays, it's like they got the internet, so it's like you can't just find some movie on HBO and get like scarred for life like I did. So firstly, I never would just brag and be like, look at me. Never came from money. I came from not money. You know, I've always been struggling. I always had to get student loans to go to school and yada yada. And I never had a nice car and nothing like that. Okay. But now, after years of really fighting and knowing and trusting in my path and my journey and stuff, I've been able to develop a clothing line that is protecting people and protecting infants and newborn babies and pregnant women and people with EMF sensitivities and all sorts of stuff. And it's only going to get bigger and cooler and more awesome. So being an activist is, yes, copper can be really good. Definitely. You can wear it out. You can just wearing it gets fishy is the only thing. And thanks, Lindsay. You can get I don't even know, you can get too much on your skin maybe, but the thing about the copper is it's dipped in a nylon sheet. So whenever you have copper fabric, it's like an actual sheet of nylon, and it's too conductive. It picks up dirty electricity. So you drink out of a copper vessel and like wear the copper bracelets, and copper's badass, and you can do copper compression socks and stuff, and that's like a little bit of copper, and it's for athletes and stuff like that. But the copper fabric, I went to Thailand like with this whole, that's one of the best stories ever. Okay, I'll tell this story first.
Yes. Okay.
I thought it was going to be copper. So I had this sheet of copper, and I started making vests out of copper in the States, and all this stuff, copper, a hoodie made out of copper and all this. And I didn't know that it was like not the one to use. You can't wash it either. That's another thing. You cannot wash it because it's not a woven fabric. It's a dipped sheet of nylon. So it's like a pure sheet of, it looks cool. It's really rad. So I thought this was the way, and it was cheaper than and shiny and whatever. It's cheaper than silver. So I went overseas. I just freaking got on a plane, went to Bangkok, and my plan was just to go all over Asia into these marketplaces with this copper fabric and find where they make it or whatever. Like I didn't even know. I'm just like this. I'm a metal monkey, which is amazing because I'm fashioning metal. You know what I mean? Like, is this my destiny or what? Chinese. Do you know what yours is?
Snake.
Do you know your element?
Earth snake, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, cool. Look it up right now. So then,
Yes,
please. So then also I'm a Scorpio. So I'm a Scorpio metal monkey. And like, I'm sometimes just like, okay, I've got God on my back. I ask my gut.
Earth snake confirmed. Earth
Yeah,
snake confirmed.
love you. That's really cool. So that's the balancing with the earth and the metal monkey and the snake. We can be friends. I think snakes and monkeys are friends, they say. I do think, because it says.
No, it's true. I've had some good monkey homies.
It says it like in the when you go out for Chinese food on the mat, in the menu mat, on like the table mat, it says people you should be friends with, and it says monkey and snake. And I always thought that, whatever, I had this vision of, okay, it doesn't even matter. So I went all over to these markets, and I learned how to say in Thai, fabric made of copper, which is pa tordai tong dang. And I was like in Bangkok at these markets, and I'm saying pa tordai tong dang, which means fabric made of copper, which tong dang is copper. And I was going like to these ghetto markets, clothing markets, fabric markets everywhere. I thought I could find it in Southeast Asia. I didn't want to have to go through like a big industrial country in Asia, which I ended up having to. But the original mission to Southeast Asia was a total nightmare, a total mess. I mean, like, they would grab the fabric and look at it and look at me like I was a freaking alien and go, Tong Gang? Like, copper? Like, what? And I'd be like back at the hostel or back at the wherever that night, just like processing the day, and just like their looks of me being like, so there's all these defeats and these amazing journeys and all this stuff to, like, if you really follow your heart, whatever, you know? But I ended up figuring it out. I really did. And that's a really cool, amazing, story. But this story that I'm about to tell is kind of
you don't just materialize a revolutionary clothing protection company out of thin air. There's some legwork, I'm sure. So
a lot of people want to accomplish their dreams, but they don't know about baby steps. And I know you know about baby steps, Chance. This is like backwards. But I seriously, not everybody gets it. And it's like every day you give it your love, you give it your energy, and you give it your attention, and the seed grows. Oh,
all about that daily practice.
I wanted to mention this.
Putting that energy into the container.
We've been planting seeds of truth as activists, seeker truth bringers for years now. I've been really on the warpath for like 6-7 years. And Lindsay for longer than I, and you maybe longer than me, I'm not even sure. And
you've done more shows than anybody I know as a guest.
But I mean, as far as like years go by. So like, we've planted amazing seeds, right? And these seeds are just sitting.
This is year 6 for me.
Cool. About me too.
And I wasn't very hardcore activist at the beginning. Like, I was more just exploring who I was and figuring that out. But then it became clear that conspirituality was pretty necessary.
Cool. Well, 2015 for me, it was the year that I was like, I'm giving this my entire heart and my soul, and I'm never backing down until I die. So like, that's cool that was around.
That was the year I started InnerVerse, right at the end of the year in December. I have no idea why I even named it InnerVerse. Now I'm just like, it's obvious why it's named InnerVerse, but yeah, I just wanted to like talk to cool artists and get stoked and figure out how they became self-sufficient creators without needing stupid slave jobs. Which, yeah, that was a good direction. I'm still into that direction.
Well, we especially need that now as every job is getting weirder and weirder. And thank God I have my own company and I don't have to. Dude, I was a waiter forever. If I was a waiter right now, oh my God, I'd be miserable. And I'm sorry for people that have to deal with this right now. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. No, my heart goes out to you.
You're not cut out for it.
No, it's just unreal. And I can't just bow to that stuff and do all those things. I just don't anymore. It's unreal. Hi, Snake Jones 19. So
Snake Jones is a G.
So before I get into this awesome story, I want to say that we've been planting these seeds, and this whole cowpoke syndrome and all this stuff that came down the pipes over the past couple of years, it has literally, metaphorically, analogously, however you want to look at it, spiritually, metaphysically, it has created the most fertile seeds or fertile soil. I screwed it up. The most fertile soil you could possibly imagine. Okay, the rain is beating down, the soil is full of nutrients and worms and all this stuff, and those seeds that we've planted are finally ready, Like we never thought that it would be so fertile and amazing, but the environment is so conducive with all these freaking lies and whatnot. It's amazing, and God bless you and everyone who's been spreading the truth. So with that said, the most amazing thing that I've ever done is stop these. I can curse?
Yeah, dude, no rules.
Okay. I stopped these motherfuckers from like completely spraying this dip from blocking the sun. They wanted to do it a few years ago publicly, and it's been really making some media attention now. Bill Gates wants to block the sun, blah blah blah. Bill Gates has wanted to block the sun for quite some time, and they were to do an experiment in Tucson, Arizona, to unravel all this and launch it publicly and say, hey, look, we've got what you need. It's called aluminum. We're going to dim your sun with it to save you from global warming. Because don't you know, you exhale carbon dioxide and so does your car or SUV or whatever, and you're to blame because polar bears are on ice caps and we hate you. So it's like, oh, racism, you're racist. Yeah. So I moved from Vancouver, Canada, which I'm so happy I got to live in Vancouver, Canada before this dystopia that we're now in, because the borders are so crazy. But I was called there, and that's how I became an activist. It was amazing. My first day there, I pretty much lined up with my destiny or something else. These old school 9/11 truthers that I stumbled upon that really started kickstarting my eye openings and what have you. And it was amazing. They were like 9/11 truth on this like March 11th, 2015, downtown Vancouver, Canada. And I'm like, March 11th, what are you guys doing out here? And it's like, well, on every 11th, we try to come out to talk about 9/11. Every 11th of every month since 9/11. And I'm like, dang, you guys are sick. That's so cool.
That's
but like
hardcore.
I was like, but nobody really, it's an old issue. Do you guys know about chemtrails? Yes or no? And they look at me kind of, and this one guy pops his head in and he's like, you mean geoengineering, AKA stratospheric aerosol injections? And he had those cool words that I knew. And we were, best friends after that. And he really helped. These 9/11 truth or old school Canadian dudes really helped push me on my path.
Well, man, what we're seeing right now is like the culmination of the 9/11 thing, going from the terror security, homeland security state to the biosecurity state. It's just like two parts of the same plan, definitely lockstep, clockwork type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say it again, and I've said it before. World War III began on that day, September 11th, 2001, and World War III is a spiritual battle, and it began on September 11th, 2001.
Dude, no, man. I'm sorry, but I want to just say it went back to the point where they started spraying glyphosate on people's food and all the things, the post-World War II, like population reduction things. I think it goes back at least that far for World War III. I mean, since that was when World War II ended, I think they just went straight into it.
You really
not to like, this is semantics. I don't
yeah, no. I mean, if you want to get there, have you been looking into these world fairs? I got the official world fair.
My next guest might have something to do with this forbidden history thing. Maybe a lot to do with it. Don't want to say, but maybe it's a big episode coming next week.
Unreal. I've gotten the official world fair pamphlets. Like when you went in 1896 to the Chicago one, or 1904, I believe, to the St. Louis one. And those
where they
really,
give you
really
the reconstructed fake history that replaces the true history of the land, because that's what the world fairs were about, right? Like giving people a new history.
It seems they had thousands of Filipinos, like in cages, and it seems
and like whole buildings of babies and incubators. Were those like clones? What is up?
Oh, weird. And they had wireless tech, harmless wireless tech. But the thing that I can gather from it that I'm proposing, which is very offensive, I'm sure, to a lot of people, is that the American Indian and like all of the quote unquote natives.
Lindsay, the titty scorpions are because my nipples are visible and Landman is a Scorpio. So, I mean, our powers combined, there's a titty scorpion. Just not planned, but it does sync up with last week really well.
Synchronicities, it seems like that a whole narrative was pitched and a whole cover up for sure. And I mean, there's no old trees, and there's some serious. I mean, it gets really spiritual. And here's what I can conclude from it all is that we live in a realm where souls come to have a spiritual kind of destiny, which is an ascension out of physicality, but it comes with a lot of work and what have you. And we all have this like kind of ascension together, and it's in the stars, and the stars help line it up. And I even think that ascended Earths are represented in each star. So that's kind of a new thing I don't know if I talked to you about that, but each way.
Interesting.
These humanoids.
I could think about that.
Check it out really quick. These humanoids on Earth, as they go through this ascension process, they ascend out of this realm, maybe to a higher dimension where there's still physicality, where they're just in a different vibration or whatever. But this realm has like this locked vibration that it seems like humanoids, Atlanteans or whoever, Lemurians or whatever, they seem to have ascended beyond this. It seems like that there's some duality here, and that there's darkness, there's darkness, there's good and evil here. And the darkness seems to have lost all those times, and they are pissed. And they don't want to lose anymore. And so they've come in the form of like, let's call them interdimensional dark beings or something. And they're talking to evil humans, as humans came in as the next round of humanoids. And maybe our DNA was reconstructed because the Kundalini is like this spiral compression. I think it's like a compressed spring. And then if we were giants before, we were easily connected without that compression of the spring of the Kundalini snake's compression, because that's
why we were bigger. That actually makes sense.
And the aligned up chakra system, and that kind of like was in recent download or whatever too. But I've
always felt like, do you ever feel taller when you're like on mushrooms or something?
Yeah, we're enormous. So either way, we're enormous. It's this realm. And as the stars line up, we're supposed to have these progressions, but they block them with freaking metal. And that's the whole point of the chemtrails and the geoengineering and all this stuff, is to come in early on this timeline and try to completely hijack it, turn this into metallic, like freaking total transhumanism robots. And potentially there was a timeline where there were giants that were turned to stone, where we have these giant trees that were cut down that were turned to stone and all this other stuff. And there's remnants of that here maybe. And what would make sense is that maybe there was a war, and to prevent this ascension out of physicality, the humanoid versions of humans then were actually turned to stone to prevent an ascension, because like the war is on, like we're here. The spiritual battle is like right before our eyes. And we're we're at a crossroads, and we're here to fight for good, and it's amazing. And I'm so happy to be here. So with that said, I stopped these fuckers in Tucson, but it was a wild ride, and I don't want people to ever not want to be an activist, because like
it seems like Arizona is the spot where the battle's being fought hotter than anywhere else. I mean,
it's a bed of crystals.
We need to get you talking to my friend Mitch.
It's a magical bed of crystals, and they want to have Arizona be the first 5G state, and they're just unloading chemtrails and cell towers and fake cactuses and fake palm trees looking like nature, but they're actually 5G. And it's a wild place to be. And I experienced Sedona and Phoenix and Tucson and a lot of that very amazing, beautiful state. And when I did the conference in Tucson, it was a third huge chemtrail conference, and we packed the house. And it was really a conference to bring awareness to the experiment to dim the sun over Tucson, this whole Bill Gates thing that's supposed to happen then. And we made ripples throughout that whole community. It wasn't like everyone was now awake to chemtrails, but they were aware that this experiment was planned to happen. It was public knowledge. But I just like made it really public knowledge and said, hey, do you consent to this? They want to spray aluminum over your town. Everyone said no, and they put the experiment on hiatus for years. And now they're trying to push it and have it happen in Sweden. And they're going to have Greta Thunberg at the helm as the opposition, otherwise known as controlled opposition. And they're going to push this geoengineering thing into the UN and make it like a everywhere at once governed crazy thing. And we have to fight it. And how's that going to unravel? I don't know, but look forward to seeing how it unravels in Frankenstein's 2, the movie. But for the conference, when I had the conference in Tucson, I had so many crazy things leading up to it and all these wild experiences. And I firmly learned that there's like weapons that only work on you if you're in a state of fear. There's like frequency.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's unreal.
That's it. You just answered the whole thing. This is why I don't want them to trip about even what the potential of the darkness is, because if you're vibing.
Yeah, people hit me up that are like TI and gang stalked and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, if you controlled your vibration, that world would not exist. I'm sorry. You got to be a victim or whatever. But
all this is in this. The whole thing. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, there's definitely a frequency thing, a vibration thing.
Yeah.
And we
Keep it
do
real.
I'm trying to understand that Mick pipes in the house. Cool. I like I love ask more questions, people. I love all the people. I love having the kind of interaction. It's a great thing.
I know we got to get to your story and start interacting with them more.
So I
We're
had this
almost at that
great
time.
conference. I had this great conference.
It's great.
But like some of the people that I had come speak ended up being like totally obviously controlled opposition. One of the guys, like right when he got up, he pulls up this like swastika and he totally throws me off. And it like it was definition. You look up shit show in the Webster's dictionary, and there's a picture of me that day, like frantically running around trying to get this conference together and make this thing happen. There were people in the audience that were like plants that were like controlled, paid people to like make a big scene. There was, I even got zapped that morning. I don't even tell people this, dude. 4 a.m. the morning of in my Airbnb, I got fucking like electrocuted, bro. Like I got zapped out of my bed, and it felt like someone had like a Matt Landman voodoo doll, and they fucking stabbed the heart, and I jolted out of bed like a couple feet, and I'm like 4 a.m. I'm like, okay, that's how you want to play? All right. And I got out my stuff and started juicing because I had my juicer in the Airbnb. I'm like, all right, we got the Chemtrail conference today.
This is how you fight
I'm
the
like,
war,
you're gonna fucking play this game. We're not playing this
war
game.
with juice. That's right.
I'm like, we're not playing this game. I'm not in fear.
Stay juiced,
people.
Fear, Don't let them take your juice. You stay in the juice.
Fear is really real, and it's in that vibration we can be controlled. That's what they're trying to do to everybody right now, all at once. It's so obvious. They have the phones in their pockets and the mass media devices, and the phones propagate frequency also, but they really want people in a state of fear so they can control them. So either way, I give my passionate speech, and right before my speech, my homie from back home, thank God, he was like, bro, you got to take it easy in your speeches. You seem like a fanatic. You're so passionate and crazy. And I'm like, yeah,
I know. About you, though.
I know, good point. But I'm like,
I love getting fired up with you.
I'm like on the warpath at the end of these speeches, and I'm like so fired up that they really wanted to use that against me. And so, like going into the conference, I was so like sketched out about like what could happen next that I staged an argument with my girlfriend about whether or not I was going to bring this firearm of mine that I didn't have anymore. I sold it a long time ago, but nobody knows that until right now. I sold it to a friend. Hello world. So either way, I had a fake argument in front of my computer because I was like, how can I have the upper hand? So I swear they thought that I had a backpack with my gun. And I was like, if anybody fucks with me, I'm going to get that thing out and I'm going to show them what's up. And she's like, no, you can't. Ah! But it's like, I wanted to have something because I knew they were fucking listening to everything I do and shit.
It's like Super Bowl level juke move.
I hate them. I do hate them. So I swear at the end of my fucking speech, dude, I was supposed to be like, your ancestors died for you motherfuckers. You got to stand up and we got to stop them. Let's rally together for humanity. Ah! And there was a protest the next day. I was trying to convince everyone to come to the protest. I was bribing them with whatever, a contest of who can make the best sign and bottles of wine and gas masks and all this and a photo op. Whatever. It was on Mother's Day for Mother Earth, and it's hard to get people out on Mother's Day. Either way, at the very end, as I'm giving this impassioned end of my speech, I just take a deep breath and I'm like, I kind of cool it because the audience is all from all over the country and, you know, they're not really laughing at my jokes anyways. And I'm just like, okay, I got to keep it cooler, chill it out, you know? And right when I'm like, towards the end, this guy's in the audience, like waving his arms, trying to get my attention. My subconscious is like, oh, that's your friend Dominic. Don't worry about it. And it wasn't done, of course. He didn't even come. It's just like, whatever. None of my friends don't give a shit. So like, the good ones do.
I know. I know how it is. I had to make new friends for this.
Dude, save the world. Oh, yeah. Save the world, Matt. Go for it, bro.
That's a different crew. I got like, party crew, save the world crew. I'd like to merge them. Yeah,
no, it's all going to merge. So either way, at the end, after this guy was like in my subconscious, is like, what's going on? At the end, as I'm giving my very final thoughts on the speech, he just starts screaming, he's a global shell! He's a global shell! And he just keeps saying those words over and over and over. And people are like lining up like old ladies, like with $100 bills in their hands. They want to talk to me and give me money and give me donations and they love me and they want to talk. And it's like,
ain't that the communist move to just be like, whatever they are, they just say that's what you are?
Yes, exactly,
It's like
bro. I hate
Spider-Man
that.
double meme.
I hate that shit.
It's like
I hate
Spider-Man
that.
double meme.
I hate that shit.
That's what
And then
the
you're trying to defend yourself. It's
Pepsis
like,
are
no,
like
he's
that. I
bad.
mean, the
He's
left
bad.
especially.
So, dude, you know the voice to skull technology? I swear they used it on me that day. And the voice to skull technology was dive off the stage into this dude, dive off the stage into the guy, dive off the stage into the dude. And he's screaming and he's screaming. He's shoving old ladies out of the way. And I'm literally like getting a running start. And the stage is like 4 feet high. So I'm going to dive into this fucking guy with my steel toe boots on,
Would
my
have been
imaginary
cool.
gun. You know, I don't have the gun, thank God, you know? And I'm like literally about to do it, dude. Okay. And I swear it's voice to skull tech. I just the only thought in my head was dive off the stage, dive off the stage, dive off the stage. And the guy's like screaming the same thing, same thing, same thing. And this little angel voice, right before I take the leap, this little angel's voice says, the dude is 400 pounds, Matt, bro. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a little dude, that's right. Because I've always been like kind of a little dude, thank God, because I have a crazy temper. And I was just like zenned out, you know? And I went and I didn't do nothing. And he kept making a big scene. And I went and called the cops because that'll be great, right? And they didn't freaking come forever. And I go and I'm like, dude, you got to get out of here. This is my conference. You're ruining everything. And he's got this empty styrofoam cup, this huge, like 32 ouncer. And he's like waving it in my face, yelling the same shit. It's like, hey, the global shell. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, you want to take this outside, bro? Like anything I could do to get this guy out of there. And I was so mad, and I smacked the empty styrofoam cup out of his hand. And I'm like, the police are coming, bro. You should leave. I go up there, wait for the cops. The cops come. I'm like, thank God, officer, I'm Matt Landman. I put on this conference. They go, oh, you're Matt Landman? I'm like, yes, it's my conference. They're like, you're under arrest. I'm like, dude, please, are you seriously? Like, and they arrest me right there for assault. They say, you assaulted that guy. Everybody's lining up. The most beautiful old ladies and amazing people. Matt's our hero, dude. You can't arrest him. And he's putting on this conference. It's like the early stages of this whole day thing. And the protest is the next day. I can't be in jail the next day for the protest, you know? And so they were like, okay, we won't book you, we won't take you in, but here's your charge. You got to come to Tucson and blah, 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 you know? And I was like so wigged out. I was like, dude, if I end up in a Tucson jail, I don't think I'm going to make it out, because I was in somewhat of a freaked out effing frequency at the time. But it ended up okay in the end. Like some blessed soul was like, I work for the courts. Can I help you? Or I had this connection of a friend, and she helped me, man. I didn't have to pay a dime. And we ended up going through this process to get his charges dropped. He got charged with disturbing the peace or something. I think that's exactly what it is. So we had that. And then when we went to the court, like third layer of the court system, I was finally able to phone in, and they were like, look, can we get this dropped? You know, like, we got the other guy's things dropped. Can we just drop this thing? And I got it dropped. So there it is. It's dropped. And fast forward a few years, I'm realizing I stopped those fuckers. I did something amazing. I'm so stoked on doing that. It's the best thing that I've ever done.
They didn't do the dim the sun
down.
experiment in Arizona.
Hands down. Yeah, they didn't do it. They were going to launch it publicly and then say, hey, look, this is what we've got. We're going to do this everywhere all at once and launch what they want to do, which is called full-scale deployment, which is dimming the sky everywhere and being like, yeah, it's because we did that experiment, you know, Bill Gates and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they're normalizing it and they're trying to do it still. But I bought us some time, people, and I'm proud of myself. And that's like my craziest, coolest little like vibrant kind of story. It was something else, man. What an experience. I will never step foot in the city of Tucson ever again.
Yeah, I think those piggies came there with your name on their sticky note already. I don't think it would have mattered if you, they probably were told like this guy, they probably were pretty confident, you know, that you would flip out, and all you did was you did the guy a favor. You spilled his gas station sludge cup.
It was empty. And look, everybody who's like controlled op or someone who I don't trust or whatever, they like start to show off with like, oh, Matt, it's horrible being an activist, right? You get your life threatened. It's yeah, people die, huh?
No, dude, the evil and the fear is there to sharpen your sword, and that's why Matt's so sharp. It's because it's actually badass to be an activist, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the best thing I've ever done, and I would what? I would be a waiter right now, you guys.
Oh, poor me. I had to like live my highest truth and be a spiritual warrior, badass leader for reclaiming the dimension from the AI or whatever. Oh man, that's horrible. I would hate that. What a shitty movie.
Yeah, blessed be you.
Ah,
Thank you for those words.
you're the man, dude.
So
No
are you,
doubt.
bro. I love it. It's so
So,
cool that
okay,
you're
so we got to hit
existing.
some, we got to get back to our fam here and see a few questions. First of all, John in the chat, Ether Force wants to know, does EMF blocking clothing block natural harmonics that drive our biology? I think the answer to that is no, but you might want to elaborate why you might know that. I've worn them and I didn't feel blocked. I could say that confidently.
That's a really good question, and I've thought about that. We have a frequency that penetrates silver clothing. I mean, okay, so here's the deal. There's light, and light is of all these different bandwidths and frequencies and whatnot. We can only see light as Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, violet. But on each side of that color spectrum, based on the size of, in nanometers, the size of the light waves, there's ultraviolet, we can't see it, but it's there. There's infrared, we can't see it, but it's there. Infrared is just a little bigger than orange or red light waves. And along with all these other waves, there's like AM and radio waves and FM radio waves and all these things. And the light of the sun can get through the silver, you know? It's just the specific properties of the light, of the size, like the EMF.
The EMF pollution is only a narrow width of the band anyway.
Yeah, so we're protecting just from that light. So I've yet to do Carillion photography of people wearing and not wearing, which I want to do.
I just think about the tiara of the king back in the day. It's literally like a protect. Okay, this is going out there, but everything in the research about the angelic hosts and their whole, Nephilim shenanigans and whatever UFOs are, there's a real thing about. You brought up voice to skull, and maybe alphabet agencies got that, they do claim to, but they're going back further. There's the OG voice to skull, which is that the flaming wheels and the Ophanim in the sky and the chariot thrones of the seraphim would be literally beaming thoughts into your head. And so to me, maybe that's why the rulers and the kings wore that type of headgear to kind of like protect their dome from the other side, because there's an entire war in heaven thing where that whole group of entities, they divided too and couldn't figure out who could be in charge of the peons. But anyway, that's all over the place. But I think that there's some reason why the kings wore the metal hat, the OG tinfoil hat, just a lot nicer.
I think you can also, I meditate in it. I mean, it's like nothing scientific, but I feel great in it. I've been wearing it this whole show and I feel amazing. My energy
the feels
body
don't lie. Consciousness is feeling, bro.
My energy body feels recharged, but more so it's like this. If you live in the city and you're walking by cell towers, or if you go into a coffee shop or whatever that has like Wi-Fi blasting, or wherever you are with like a lot of radiation, better to protect yourself and not absorb harmful radiation. You go out into nature, or if you go home or whatever, life energy carries, so these frequencies can't penetrate.
I'll just read this out loud. Mitch, call in a second. I want you guys to meet.
Yeah, that's true.
In my view, EMF waves can only do so much, but life energy that carries so many of these frequencies can penetrate everything. EMF is a pathway for the anti-life frequencies. I would recommend the Oriner experiment by Reich. Sounds
cool.
good.
I'm writing that one down. I've gotten this amazing library. You wouldn't believe it. And I've got Reich books and all sorts of stuff. What was the experiment called?
The Oriner experiment. And we're going to bring Mitch on if he wants to call in a second. Buddy, I'm trying to think the best way to send you. I'll email you directly a StreamYard link in a bit, so watch out for that. Also, I got a couple of things out of our call-in line on Telegram. Mm-hmm. How we do it is I got this Telegram channel that's just for people to drop stuff in for us to check out. So we got a short one from Gabe, also known as Slick Dissident. This might be going back a little ways, but he always has some gravy. And even if it's a little non sequitur, I'm into it. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll be full circle. Anyway, about a 40-second clip from Gabe I'm going to play for us here. He was so good. The last episode, was just the most like Leo fired up treasure chest, solar plexus, golden energy ever. One of my favorite episodes of my entire career. That keeps happening. It just keeps getting better. But all right, let's hear what Gabe had to say. If you can't hear it after I hit play, Matt, just like say so, but you should be able to.
Cool.
Oh, there's a little bit of gaps.
On the big love, everybody. Much respect. Good to see you two fine gentlemen tonight on the Vibrant channel. I got a question from Mr. Matt Landman. I want to know if you believe that there are actual pilots flying those planes up in them skies, or do you believe they are remote controlled? Much love and respect, everybody. Peace and happy Equinox.
Oh yeah, it's totally Equinox. I mean, you saw my overlay here. Well, let me bring us down. You can see it. Never mind. I was trying to show this background better, but it's got like the lady with the blind lady with the scales of justice. You know, Virgo season coming up.
The first thing you did pulled it up. And yes, happy autumnal equinox. And I'm so glad that you asked that question, because literally I was just writing down that I wanted to apologize to you. I didn't mean to dismiss your sweet video of those passenger planes spraying at the airport.
Oh, dismiss.
That's a cool video.
Dude,
yeah,
I'm skeptical of everything. I mean, they can fake everything. I just was like, you seen this? I don't know, just chilling. No
it's
worries.
Cool. It's cool, and it could easily very well be, because a lot of the passenger jets are outfitted to fill in the gaps and what have you. To answer the question, the majority are pilotless drones. They're controlled like video games on ground level, maybe even by computers at this stage in the game. Where I live in Ashland, Oregon, I'm in this beautiful valley that runs north to south, which makes for great east to west sunrise, sunset for the plants. It's a great growing valley. It's called the Applegate Valley. A lot of hemp and cannabis and apples, and it's where Bartlett pears come from, and it's just a very lush, beautiful valley. Come on down, Chance. It's going to be a great place for the resistance, I feel like. There's a lot of open minds here, and a lot of cool protests and what have you. But I digress. So we have an airport in Medford, which is just north of me, and that's you would think that's where the air traffic goes, but it does. But when there's chemtrailing, it's all going to where the airports are not. It's going right over the hills east to west, and they just come right over and then go back over and then go right over and come back over, and they're mixing stuff together. And if you really look at them, they're often low to the ground and quite small. They're just drones, different chemicals being mixed. There's like a 1976, I believe, patent called barium release rocket, NASA barium release rocket. It's like a drone with a rocket with wings, like a drone kind of thing. But they're releasing basically 3 different chemicals that are charged differently, mixing them together. And they have these little Air Force type bases that are not passenger plane bases. And they're not really using passenger planes much at all that I know. I mean, after 9/11, majority of the budget of the entire United States went black ops, went dark, went secret, we don't even know what the checks we're writing are for. And so there's a lot of drones that are built that are outfit to do this because of the whole, I mean, it's even public knowledge. I mean, they even said during the Trump administration, even during the Obama administration, we're getting geoengineering funding out of Congress and stuff like that. That's outfitting drones and stuff. I mean, they've been doing it for a while, and by now, it's majority drones. There's no pilots, yeah. So then all these questions like, how could they do that? Don't they have families and all that sort of stuff? Well, firstly, they think they're saving the day from global warming. They think that they're doing a good thing, by dimming the sun, saving us or whatever. But they don't even know what they're really doing. They're compartmentalized. They're on a need-to-know basis, and ultimately they're brainwashed. Too, you know what I mean? Yeah, they're indoctrinated. But yeah.
Funny how military ops are structured just like secret societies. Makes you wonder.
It's pretty. I mean, they're smart at what they do for sure, to keep the truth hidden in plain sight, to keep everybody entrenched in fear and controlled and thinking what they want to think and all sorts of stuff. Like different conspiracies. We don't need to go down the rabbit hole of flat Earth, but I did something. I went on Google Alerts, and I loved my first introduction to truth is what I put into Google Alerts, where I get updated once a day. I put my name in there too, which is great. I'm pretty much a celebrity. It's unreal. I mean, sorry, I Googled my name recently, Matt Landman podcast, and I've been doing work, bro. It's like, it's amazing all this stuff out there that I've done. But, oh God, I'm horrible. That aside, Google
You're
Alerts.
beautiful.
So check it out. Google Alerts. I did geoengineering. I did chemtrails. I did a couple other key chemtrail words, solar radiation management, whatever these other key chemtrail words. And every day when the media conglomerates want to shit talk chemtrail conspiracy believers or promote geoengineering as a solution we need, I get notified and I can include it in my presentations. And the propaganda, it's unreal. They muddy the waters to make whatever that quote is. It's unreal, right? So recently I put in flat Earth just to see what the heck was going on out there with it, because it's so interesting how recently they really want to divide everyone and make the truthers into these crazy nut jobs that believe all these things, including the Earth is flat and the cowpoke is blah 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 is bad and cha-cha-cha. You know, it's ridiculous how they want everybody in these little categories so they can divide and conquer. And so
but then they want to lump
understand
the categories together. Like, if you don't believe cowpokes are good, you are a Q-tard. You know,
Well,
they definitely lump these things together.
And that's under one umbrella of, you know, anti-establishment or whatever, or whatever. I think like the white male is under attack, really, because I was thinking about it.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that. Hey, we're gonna bring Mitch on with us for a second. This is a homie of mine I've been wanting to meet for a while. You cool with just bringing him in and we go from here?
Yeah, but what was yes, I was going to finish the thought.
You finish the thought. I'm just pulling him in so you won't be
What was I even
surprised
talking
when he shows
about?
up.
Tell me what I was talking about, Chance.
Guys, what was Matt just talking about? It'll circle back up.
I put into Google Alerts flat Earth.
That's what it was, flat Earth.
Every single day I get an email from Google of how many times the word flat Earth has been dropped on the internet via an article, like a mainstream article. Every single day there's like 20 or 30. It's more than any key term I've even thought of. There's so much propaganda out there right now, like saying like how they just want to demonize and divide and ridicule. And there's this ridicule psychology where if you think there's this othering, that you can place people in this other category, and there's this like slippery slope where you can just stone them down the line, you know, because they're not you. It's so weird and psychological. But yeah, what's up, Mitch? Where you at? Nice to meet you.
Hey, Matt. This is pretty cool. I had no idea about 10 minutes ago I'd be talking on this, but I'm in Sedona, actually.
Oh, wow, cool. I lived there.
Yeah, I currently do, but looking for somewhere else to go. We just spent 2 weeks driving around Idaho and fell in love with it. So
very cool.
Yeah.
I would imagine Sedona is probably pretty masked up and caught up in this agenda because they're pretty spiritual, and somehow spirituality means retarded nowadays. I don't even know why.
Well, actually, so technically I live in the village. So I'm in the village of Oak Creek. But cool. I'm sure you probably heard the term the village of old creeps. So they all love their masks and pharmaceuticals and whatnot, but we're unincorporated. So we at least don't have to follow any rules. But the city's 7 miles away. City center of Sedona is pretty bad. Cool. So
I've been wanting to get you guys lined up to just know about each other, because of everyone out there that's doing the hardcore hustle to fight geoengineering, the top two in my book, and you know, it should be a bigger book, but is Matt Landman and Mitch the orgone donor. You guys are both mad inspirational, and I wanted to get you talking because I want Matt to kind of hear about what's gone on in Arizona since you've been doing the work you're doing. And I know that like going in depth about the full aspects of what you're doing with the Reichian tech would take a minute. And we've covered that really well in previous episodes with you. So we can be concise, but like, I know you've been on also a recent journey and quest, and this is a great place for you to kind of come in, tell Matt what you've been up to, tell everyone else. And like, I'll just stop jibber jabbering, but Matt, like the results that are apparent from Mitch's work and people working with him are crazy. Nah, you got to hear about it.
I mean, well, actually, first I want to say, because I figured if I ever got to talk to Matt, I would actually say this. But when I saw Frankenskies, it was the first time I ever saw any documentation, like film-wise, of geoengineering that referenced something that I say openly and I get a lot of pushback. It was one of the interviews. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was the one who referenced Wilhelm Reich.
Harry Rose.
And mentioned that deserts are not natural, that they are terraformed, and that there's an artificial influence that creates them. And here I am, kind of in the heart of it. And when I started doing this, we moved here in 2018 from Chicago, where we had spent about 2 years at that point doing this thing that I'm sure you've heard of, tower busting. We basically put orgonite all over the city of Chicago and then like branched our way outward. And we really, for lack of a better word, we really fucked up the weather in a good way. And so having Wilhelm Reich have come to Arizona back in the late 40s, I knew I wanted to come here. He went to Tucson, actually, where he ended up writing Contact with Space and talked about, how deserts are not natural. And I wanted to prove that, and I have proven that. It was back when Pedo Joe was selected in January. I knew like that with all the work we'd been doing with tower busting the last few years, that we really it was like 5G had been expanded. All the schools, like I get emails from parents, and like the schools now have it, the churches all have it, everywhere you look, there were these 5G towers going up. And so I just basically invested every last ounce of time, money, and energy that I had into this project. I'm calling it Earth Pipes Across Arizona, where I'm literally putting these orgonite earth pipes all over Arizona, because I know from my work that earth pipes are like one of the, as far as all these tools and things you can do around the cell towers, the pipes are the best. Everything's tapping in and changing the frequency of the planet. And, everything's just, and I know we all know energy signatures and stuff like that. So it's like we're turning the natural energy signatures back on. For the last 6 months, I have now coordinated very strategically with, I don't even know how many people at this point, every town, every community, especially like the Phoenix and Tucson areas, because the jet stream brings a lot of that, what would be our monsoon season up. We were just knocked up from the 4th heaviest monsoon season to 3rd heaviest monsoon season this month. And it's not over until October. And we had a second spring. We're having a second spring. And it was about 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe, Chance, I saw your Vibrant with was it?
Oh yeah,
Gordy?
Gordy.
And he mentioned the
he might
butterflies.
call in a minute.
Yeah, he mentioned the butterflies, and I just noticed this last week that I was like, "What the hell is going on? Like, there's butterflies everywhere." And I know that's not like a huge shocker to see one or two, but like they're everywhere, and it's like
I heard fireflies too.
I've heard about that. I've heard about fireflies down in Phoenix and Tucson specifically. But we just spent the last, we got back on Friday last week. We spent like 12 days driving around. We went through Utah, Montana, Idaho, down to Nevada, ended in Sin City, and then drove home. And the weirdest thing about it was how much green we saw that did not match any of the drought talk that has been perpetuated all summer long. And there was no shortage of haze. There was no shortage of smoke. And I'm going to be talking about this on a different thing, I think tomorrow morning. But, and I coordinated with Chance to do it another time later too. But it was just very odd. We spent all this time driving around. We had friends also driving around all over Utah, Idaho, Montana, like I said, and we couldn't find the source of any of this smoke. And I get a lot of emails from people who also live in these areas that cannot find a source of this smoke. It's all, as I've shown here in Arizona, at least I'm fairly convinced, based on the 2,000 plus earth pipes we've put around the state in the last 6 months, on top of everything else we've done driving around the state busting towers, there's no electrosmog here in Arizona right now. We've had one of the heaviest monsoon seasons ever. We had literally a second spring. And so much of this was green. And it wasn't until we got over into the Utah border that we started to see things shift a little bit, where we saw the electrosmog, and all of that ionized crap that somewhere someone is feeding with a fire. But it's not as, I don't think it's as big as they want us to believe. That's where I'm going with it. So anyway, I'm hoarding the conversation. I didn't
Matt,
mean to.
me and you, we've talked in the past about how what they do on the headlines in the news is just try to take whatever the weather event is or seasonal change is and try to make it sound as hellish as possible, you know? And Mitch has done amazing work just following him on social media where he points out the stupid ass weather headlines every day and how like it's doom, gloom, drought, like all lies, because everyone I know in Arizona all summer was just like, it is raining. It won't stop raining.
Record
Green
rain.
Like green is coming out of every crack and corner where we live. And I mean, the great thing about Reich is that he pointed out that you can't prove anything to anyone, but I have a feeling that there's something up. I have a feeling there's something up. And yeah, I mean, it's all about that vital life force energy and also the intention that you put and spin into those devices. It's all very, very
absolutely
realer than real. So been really hoping to get you guys linked up because nobody's been fighting that fight harder than the two of you that I know out there.
I mean, we drove, like I said, everywhere we drove. What was interesting was everywhere we went into town, and this is something you and I will talk about in detail with the pictures and the slides and that kind of stuff later on. But we get into town and you can't even see the skyline because the haze is so bad. And like, we went through like Moab first. Every single place we went during this trip, the morning we left, so we had a truckload of orgonite, the tower busters, the pipes, but we also had these other things we call harmonizers that are kind of like those chem busters, the big guns that you stick in the air, the cannons, those kinds of things. Every morning, every place we left, it rained and it was clear, including Vegas, which was just a satanic DOR radiation hellhole. But, it's just everywhere we went, it rained. And everywhere we went, the sky was cleared. And I mean, we were gifting all along the way. I always try to call something by a name. I called this Operation Pipeline. I basically want to just draw a line of earth pipes up to Canada and back down. And we did what we could between the two vehicles that we had. But our mutual friend that I'm sure some people have seen her on your other shows, Carol, we were going there to visit her specifically. And within 24 hours, this was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, was like as far as we got north. We lost a shit ton of orgonite in what I call a boating accident. And it poured for 2 days. They hadn't had rain forever.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
I mean, we lost some orgonite in a boating accident. So this is the easy way of just saying I didn't come home with it. And so, but the whole point of it was I spent 2 months putting all of it together that we were going to take. Like it was a purpose to go through, because all these places, like right now, the last place we went after Vegas was the Hoover Dam and to Lake Mead. And that's a whole other conversation. But I believe that's actually one of the biggest targets that needs to be neutralized, and that needs a lot of this stuff around it because the water supply there, so they say, so many of us different states are reliant on it, and they're already seeding the idea that we're going to be out of water by January. And it's like, I was there and the water was low, but it wasn't as low as they're saying. And I posted something on my YouTube page, and I was off of social media for like however long I was gone, and just got back on it, and it's just riddled with, you're a psycho and conspiracy theorist. I'm like, get a new name already. But anyway, Lake Mead is very important, and it's like they're harnessing some kind of energy there, and between the dam and being connected to Vegas, I know I'm very big on the whole like etheric side so that influence that it has on geoengineering, because I also agree with like what Matt said about drones. I believe because people always ask me like, why would the pilots do this to their own family? And I'm like, why are you assuming that there's a human being in there? And so I think it's part drones. I think it could be part holograms. I think it could be part energy fields. I think it's just a whole never-ending smorgasbord of stuff. But anyway, that's where I am right now. And it was just a crazy, crazy trip to see the state of the West. But I will tell people it's encouraging because it's a lot greener than people are being told. and I find that very interesting. So
Yeah, we just got some early rain too, thank God. We're dealing with like 5 straight weeks of toxic smoke in the valley, and I mean that's pretty bad for where we live. They're screwing with the jet stream. You know, the jet stream should be able to pull the smoke out of here and push it across the states and not get bogged down in those states that you're talking about, Nevada and Idaho and all that sort of crap. The West is still on fire big time. I think the biggest fire in the West is in Southern Oregon, where I live. It's massive, and this recent rain didn't do anything to it. But Northern California's got probably 5 really, really, really big fires. You can look them up. I look at them often. They're massive, and that smoke's got to go somewhere, you know.
I mean, it not being able to see it billowing though. I mean, it's just when you look and see, it's like you put enough of this stuff around. It's like, why is there's a barrier you can see where the smoke ends, where the haze ends. And it's, so I think what they're doing is they're drawing everything they can. They're spreading it out. And that's why to magnify it here in Arizona, when
it's like the
fires in May,
it's like the EMF frequency to cut in is scaffolding that creates the lattice work of the haze to be able to rest on. Otherwise it would just, you know, the sky is effing big, you know, and stuff also, if it's heavier than the air, it might fall down, but there's some sort of, you know, there's an EMF component that is creating that structure for it to layer upon and give that electrosmog haze that where the sun is literally dimmed out by it. And you see that weird it's like iridescent, but it's like creepy iridescent. You know what I'm talking about, Matt, where there's that, you know, hazy iridescence in front of the harp. Yeah. Harp. That's right. Oh, there's a word for that.
Someone contacted me from Australia today.
I was about to ask, was it a harp quake? I think maybe.
Oh yeah, that's what they're saying. You know about the harp quake already. Chance, you're on it. You got a lot of friends.
I know smart people tell me things. I'm at the point where I don't have to do as much looking into news at all, and people tell me the stuff that matters, and I know who to trust.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone in the Telegram group. It's badass.
Yeah, thank you everyone in my social media feed on Sparrow Gear, SPERO. It's a Latin word for hope. Gear on Instagram.
We can't get Matt on the gram because he doesn't have a slave phone, a dumb phone.
Well, I got Sparrow Gear, but yeah, no, for sure. Oh, you know my phone.
I mean on Telegram, bro. I mean, sorry, other gram, not Zuckergram.
Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna be on all those. I'm gonna jump on every single last one of those platforms soon.
Telegram, you got to have a slave phone number, a smartphone slave phone.
I think you can do it from a desktop with like an app, I've heard.
Okay, but, emulate the phone number. Tight. Yeah, you need to get in there, dude. We have some amazing stuff going on in Telegram. Seems to be the last bastion of freedom.
Would you believe it's not within reach, but I have this Verizon slider phone that's totally G. It's like a flip phone. It's amazing. I love it. It doesn't emit radiation. I've got an EMF meter. It doesn't emit radiation. It's the best. I got a message the other day. We're getting rid of 3G. FYI, your phone is going to have to go onto a 4G LTE network, and LTE stands for long-term evolution. It might as well be 5G. So my little rinky-dink phone, I don't even know if it's got the software or hardware to propagate a 5G wave, but that's going to get real. One thing that Mitch said, everyone, he said DOE. What DOE is deadly orgone energy. It's a Wilhelm Reich term, and it's basically the opposite of life force energy. It's like the worst thing you can ever come in contact with. It's even worse than like I got horrible jokes. I'm not going to say anything. Everything I have in the back of my head is offensive. Okay, so either way,
don't self-censor, Matt.
So there's when you go to the beach, or the river or the forest or some beautiful spots in Sedona and what have you. I lived at 420 Harmony Drive, right by the stupa near.
That's a dope address.
Thunder Mountain. It was Thunder Mountain. It's some people that live next to Thunder Mountain. They have to leave a chance.
Harmony Avenue, 420. What?
Orange rock, and it's at the base of the stupa. But people can't live at Thunder Mountain. It was like crazy energy. I was so blessed to live there for over a year. I got a job at a sushi restaurant. I stopped Bill Gates from blocking the sun. It was fucking epic. So. Deadly orgone energy is like the opposite of, there's negative ions when you go to the beach. Negative ions are like the good things. I know they call it negative. It's weird, but it's the charges that we need for our everything. We're electrical bodies.
It just balances out your electricity. Yeah.
Yeah, and it can actually
you
pull
exchange those ions when you earth on the ground with your bare feet.
Yeah, it pulls the dirty or bad electricity out and stuff. It's the good stuff. And the opposite of the good stuff is bad stuff. And it's also called, it's got a few terms. So first off, negative ions can also be called orgone energy, also life force energy. It's hard to understand. I think
Ether, prana.
I think Tesla referred to it as ether. Thank you, Chance. Exactly. So it's invisible, but it's real. And the antithesis to it is DOE, deadly orgone energy, or positive ions. And it's the crap that seeps out of the sky when they zap the crap out of it with HARP and ground-based ionospheric heaters. And I think it's the electrosmog you were referencing. Also, it's nasty. When they super zap the sky, there's on the bottom, you can like see the ripples in the sky. Like they spray. So you've got the beautiful blue sky that God gave us, or whoever, and then the planes come and they have precursor primer jets that do the short trails. And people are like, oh, look, hon, it's a contrail. No, it's a short chemtrail. Then after they've primed the sky, it takes them like half a day or a couple of days. It depends on the weather conditions or whatever. Then they come along with the other planes, mixing the different chemicals, and those stick with those other chemicals because of reverse opposite charges and whatever, and the two chemicals mix together, and then they zap them with intersecting radio wave Tesla technology, and it superheats them to near the temperature of the sun, whatever the sun really is. And then the fallout from that evil shit, because they're doing evil shit. It's really their intention, okay? They're doing evil shit. So evil fallout comes out of it, and it's called deadly orgone energy, and it's like the opposite of life force energy, and it's horrible. But guess what? We are full of life force positive energy, and we bring the balancing, the yin-yang, everything's in a balance. Okay?
If you in flow, you got more power than you could ever know.
Everything's in balance. So when things were out of balance back in the day, they do a rain dance, and Mother Nature was like, oh yeah, you need some rain. It's obvious. It's out of balance. Boom. And they call it in with their intention. They didn't have to put their intention into a cloudbuster and go that route. When I had Harry Rhodes from UK and Terry Lawton, amazing activist. I don't know if you had him on yet, climatechangeagenda.com. Terry Lawton's a G.
He was not able to take interviews last time I talked to him. He had some stuff going on.
He's all over Ireland in like a RV, and he doesn't even have Wi-Fi. So like, God bless him, and I love him. And he's on the warpath, and he's an actual activist. I had both those blokes. I picked them up in San Francisco, drove them around the Pacific Northwest, and we had a conference, or a handful of conferences. We did the conference, the first annual Global Chemtrail Summit in Vancouver. It was a huge hit, huge success. We're blessed, and we built numerous cloudbusters under the designs that Trevor Constable passed down to Harry Rhodes. And Trevor Constable, I believe, was a predecessor of Wilhelm Reich, is what I'm told.
Successor. Was he a successor or
whatever the word is, dude? Yeah, successor.
I'm all about getting it right.
Okay. No, yeah, you got the dictionaries, dude.
I'm going to take charge for a second. You cool with it?
Yeah.
I want to take us to a few places. Cool. All right. So, well, first of all, we got some great comments. I've been keeping an eye on them.
Lindsay, let me just say, the cloudbusters are amazing. I've had some amazing experiences. It's unreal, and it's human intention. It's powerful. That's all.
And I've busted clouds with groups of people with our eyes too. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's all stare at this exact spot and make a hole in that cloud. It's doable. Mm-hmm. Try it. It's fun. Lindsay says an episode of Middle Path called The Energy of Everything is about life energy, orgone, chi, ether. Also, she's got an episode of Regular Rogue Ways called Song of the Ether with me as the guest, and I talk about my tuning forks, my sound healing, and that's a whole nother type of electricity. So here we go. I got two things on deck that I want to get us to. First, I want to play Gordy left us a voicemail, a few, but they'll just play back to back sequential. And I think he's going to talk about how hard we are crushing right now, how we're totally winning, and the powers that should not be are in full scramble fail, epic fail mode. So anyway, we got about a minute of Gordy here. He's called in every other show and actually hung with us. So wish we could fit that in now, but it's different every week. But I'm glad to get this voicemail. So here we go. Thanks, Gordy. Wait, got to turn the sound on. Amateur hour. All right, now here we go.
It's the second time doing this thing. Anyway, I planted 2 earth pipes, Mitch, between the tower and my owl tree, and the owls are back. They're here. And I haven't seen them having to do work on that tower yet, but they're back.
That's awesome.
And I'm sitting here in my Sparrow beanie. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that there's been so much rain that the Jaguars came back up from Mexico into the Santa Rita Mountains just south of my house, and they stopped the mine that has been exploring in the Santa Rita Mountains. They were going to do a strip mine, and they've been exploring that area, but they stopped it because the Jaguars are back. Nature's winning, fellas.
That's right. We're winning.
That's
so
awesome.
Good. So good.
That's
Okay.
intention amplification with nature on your side.
I say the wildlife up here. I mean, I'm in the like dead center of the state, and it's it went away for a while, but it's slowly creeping back. I mean, to where like we don't just have the screen door open to the patio anymore at night when you're sleeping, because there's still deer and javelina and bobcats and everything. But yeah, it's just we have a zoo in the backyard, so yeah. Reestablish the energy field. I mean, plus of course there's like a million, well, there's new rivers running down, I heard, now in Tucson too, that a lot of these places, again, I think that they've changed so much of the energy signature of the planet that the water, due to public schooling, everyone thinks that the running water they drink comes from the sky, and it doesn't. It comes from the earth. It comes up from the earth. And there are experiments people have done with energy devices that specifically bring water to the earth. And, it's there's water coming up in places. I mean, Oak Creek right now, I mean, it naturally flows anyway, but it's just booming. I have a friend who's a nomad that everyone around Sedona, I think, seems to know. Matt, maybe you, I don't know how long ago you were here, but have you ever heard of a woman named Hummingbird? Everybody knows Hummingbird, and she's like, Mitch, and she's been burying stuff for me around the state too. She stops by like once a month to pick up a box of earth pipes, and she's like, Mitch, I live on the river. She's like, it's never not flowing. It's booming everywhere I go. The running water in this state is booming. So she's like, yeah, they're lying. So anyway, the water, like there's just so much more water now. And I think a lot of nature is like, oh, they can get a drink here now. So it comes down from the mountain and out from behind the rocks and wherever it's been hiding all this time. So
speaking of the water, I got a direct question for both of you, and we'll go Matt first and then Mitch. But you mentioned a boating accident, and this is why it's like a funny sync. I just pulled a card out of the I Ching earlier in the conversation. Wasn't sure if I was going to like share it or what. I just like to draw cards from the I Ching because it's my jam. And the card I got is Obstacles, number 39, all about the unexpected difficulties, feelings of frustration or hopelessness, discouragement, struggling, a little tiny boat on these big choppy waves. Reminds me of a dream I had the other night where I was like trying to escape this nasty, super rich resort island with my dog, and our only option was a boat like this, and the storm started to come, and I was like, what if my dog falls in the ocean? We've got to go. So anyway, I want to know how you guys, in this obviously non-conventional path that you're on, how have you dealt with obstacles and frustration, hopelessness, discouragement? What do you do to transmute that, Matt? I'm sure that you've felt it, right? Like, I mean, they're trying to beam it into your head sometimes, as you were talking about earlier.
Earlier I said trust. Last night I had a dream that I was in an open ocean, and it was unreal. It ended up being pretty empowering, but I was like totally scared to death. I didn't know where to go and what to do, and it was, I mean, talk about trust, right? So my journey's been really spiritual, and at the beginning of it all, I learned that there really is light and dark on earth. There's good and evil. And I know that if I keep fighting for evil, not only will we fucking win this shit, for one, but also like I've got some like amazing ancestors and warriors and all sorts of stuff like in my space, like on my back, like not on my back, but guiding the way.
They got your back.
Yeah, they've got my back, bro. And anytime like anything bad happens to me, like 1 year ago, I was in a hospital bed, bro, and I know I told you about it, but I was thanking God for just giving me direction. You know, I asked for direction that morning, I got it, and it was a negative sign, but I got the answer. You know, so I've just always had this like spiritual
You're a genius.
trust. You know, that's all. That's my answer. Like that's my only answer to all of it is trust in spirit and trust in my higher self and trust in my divine plan and knowing that I'm here to serve a purpose and knowing that what I do makes a difference, you know?
Yeah, such a good answer. Yeah, I mean, when you ask God for a sign, am I doing the right thing? And you wind up in the hospital and you don't notice that that was the sign, I would be worried about you.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, you're relentlessly positive, dude. You've been infectiously energetic, part of my podcast host life that really has fired me up like no other. So, I mean, we've done a ton of shows together. Go back to last year and the year before. We were doing a bunch, and then you and I both got, not that we were separate on purpose, we stayed in touch, but you know, the obstacles definitely came in hard and we've been holding it down. Super proud of you, dude.
Thanks, you too. And we're all evolving together. It's so amazing. There's some Chinese proverb about like a mountain in my way or like something across my path. Like I shall use this as a stepping stone. Thank you, universe. You know, just it's all about gratitude too, brother. The frequency of gratitude is unfreaking real.
It's unfuckwithable.
It really is. It's like, oh, I'm so thankful for these chemtrails. People are waking up. I'm so thankful this fluoride in the water. People are going to see that that's, you know, nonsense. It's going to wake people up. I'm so thankful for all of this duality, for people to see the writing on the wall, for the children to be in this world, to see these idiots wearing masks so that they can rise like the phoenix and save the day and all these things. There's so much gratitude in the world, and your frequency is your destiny, you know?
Awesome. Mountains of gratitude. Mitch, what do you think about obstacles?
My gosh. Well, being a passenger in the car the entire time we were gone, I got to look around. So I knew, like, I got a little discouraged, I think, at first, just thinking how much there is to do. But I wouldn't say I mean, I'm not like thankful COVID happened, but I've learned that, like, and I've seen this a lot, this theme keeps coming up, is everybody keeps saying, stop wasting your time trying to wake up the sheep, wake up the lions. And it's taken a long time to get there. Trying to, you know, because I'm always trying to prove a point. I always feel like I have to prove a point. And it's like, you and I have discussed that thing about proof. What is proof? And all that stuff with Reich. And so it's just energy, time, commitment, everything is being redirected, which has helped me to accomplish what we've done this year. It gives me a lot of hope. Certain friends I've met along the way, specifically, I mean, the elephant in the room is the one that introduced us, has continued.
You just call Carol an elephant?
I mean, the obvious is what I mean. The obvious. So she's not watching this. She can't get upset.
Okay.
But
so man, that's harsh.
But I mean, the elephant in the room is that this person who has helped bridge a lot of things. It's just like I have hope. And more than that, it's not even just hope. It's, you know, just because you have a down day, it's not like you're down and out. It's like I'm down and determined, and so tomorrow won't be as bad. And yeah, it's just I'm seeing a huge shift where now I don't feel like when we all would say things like, you know, oh, it's an amazing time to be alive. When I hear people say that, I used to think, like, I just be like, you can hear the tremble in their voice. I'm like, you're so full of shit. And now, because it's like, just admit it. Like, you're afraid to die. I'm afraid to die. We're all worried. We're all going to die, you know? And it's just like, now it's like, okay, now we don't, there's nothing to really be so afraid of, because so many of those people, you know, we've found each other, or we are still finding each other, but it's just like, time is more well spent. The energy is more well spent. Everything is directed, and it does feel honest to say, yeah, we're winning for a change.
Be real, people. Like when you're super in flow, you get more bang for your buck on time. I've been noticing this for real. I have time to do everything, and that's because when you ground yourself in, this is my answer to obstacles. When you ground yourself in the everyday activities that are necessary to stay well, the simple things are the big things. And then all of a sudden you have time for so much. It's like this whole concept of linear time is perceptual. And hell yes to both of your answers. Hopefully I didn't overlap you too hard, Mitch, if you had more to say.
No, no,
Spiro, though, you're talking about hope. Spiro means hope.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's become more than that. You know, it's like, it's not a catchphrase. It's not hope and change and all that crap. It means something now. And to Alan, I will also say, yes, I know an elephant never forgets. So we won't tell her. So anyway.
Well, she should be watching this.
Obstacles I've noticed in my life.
She's on the road bearing earth pipes, I will add, just pointing that out.
Good.
Actually in between Oregon or between Washington and Idaho. So yeah.
So is there a lake or a body of water or somewhere with a bunch of organisms?
Well, you're gonna have to narrow it down. A lake, yes, but more a lot. Like I have literally, yes, I have been very, 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 very busy, and
you invest so much of your own currency in it too. Your current, your life force energy, all of it,
brought the current sea through the sky here. But no, just yes. So if anyone if anyone was confused by that, yes, when I say lost in a boating accident, that's because CIA Frank is probably listening somewhere, and so I just use that as a term. But yes, I had a friend who
rented spooks. If they heard us right now, they'd be like, I think I want to switch sides. This is fun.
Yeah, Carol might have rented. Yeah, Carol might have
call in, Frank. Yeah, Frank, call in. Hit us up on the gram. I know you're in the group already lurking.
I mean, water. I mean, with Emoto and all the water stuff. I mean, water's connected to all this. I know everyone watching knows this. And so, and with water being such a conductor, there's a reason they put they put the tower panels on the water towers, or the hydro plants, or there's a reason Hoover Dam exists. There's a reason it's called Hoover Dam. And so they tap into the energy. We tap into it too. So
you block the flow of life force energy. You're damned. It's not a mistaken word at all. But we got a call in from Lindsay. I want to see what she had to say. Cool. Unless Matt, you got something first? We're running a little low on time. Unless you guys want to just go over.
No, let's do this. I mean, let's just do it normal. And I want to say, first off, energy flows where attention goes, and that's some nice motto to live by. But for really quick in my life, every obstacle I've ever had has ended up being an amazing learning experience, and healers have to go through hell and back to be able to heal and to bring that information forward. So all the stuff that I've learned, it's just, even though you feel like you're, at rock bottom at the time, those obstacles are there to make you strong, so you can bring forward truth to the next generation and all this other stuff. So it's let's hear from Lindsay. I love her. She's amazing.
Okay. Dropping also a link in the YouTube chat, the Rockfin version of the stream. If you just would rather be over there, upside of YouTube is I can easily pop the comments on the screen, but on Rockfin, people gave me some tips tonight, and I want to say thank you. I believe Corey, Jenny, and one other person gave me a tip. I'm too far of a scroll. I'm super sorry. I forgot who it was, but I appreciate that a lot because I do put my whole life into this and all that. But anyway, let's hear what Lindsay had to say. I'm sure it's good.
Hey, I just wanted to share this really stupid thing that happened considering that we're talking about water, and that there's source water coming from the ground that never stops flowing. If you've ever been to the source of a river or a artesian well, it doesn't slow down. It's all day, every day. And there's who knows how many infinite sources of this all around the planet. And so that's super cool. And when I learned about that, it blew my mind. It's one of the things they don't teach you because they want you to feel like you live in scarcity and that there's not enough. And it's a huge lie. But
scarcity.
It was really funny the other day because I was listening just randomly to like the local news or whatever, and it was saying that Mitch Romney and some like Utah guy, or maybe he is the Utah guy, a Colorado guy and a Utah guy, these governors or whoever, senators, I don't know, they met to talk about climate change, fake ass climate change, and they met to go floating down. I think it was the Snake River, maybe it was the Colorado, I don't remember. And they were like, oh, we share this historic waterway and we have to protect it as a state and the federal government can help too. And blah blah, but climate change is making these rivers so low and we don't have enough water. And they were like, and tragically they're floating down the river like idiots. Like this is their like publicity stunt. The float only lasted 90 minutes because the river got too low to keep floating.
Poor
And I'm like,
bastards.
bitch, it's fucking the height of summer. Like this around the fucking continent is the lowest point the rivers will get to all year, every year, whether there's climate change or not. Like they did this on purpose and staged it and like made it seem like this big scarcity and this big problem. Like if you wanted to not stop floating and you wanted to float the whole river and not pretend, you would have done it in spring when the water is high and the melt is running off and blah blah blah. It was just stupid. I just wanted to share that. That was long. Really?
Wow. The Snake River.
Yeah, it's Johnny in there too. What up, Johnny? That was our weekly guest last week. If you missed last week's Vibrant, it was so funny you might be injured afterwards. So good.
The Snake River did not look low to me, and we drove by it, 3 days? So we also lost a bunch of stuff around there as well. But when I hear stuff like that, it makes me think like, we change an energy signature. Are they on call to go change? Because what I found interesting too, we went to Boise and did some gifting, we passed through and lost some stuff. And the day Biden was flying through to do a discussion on climate change. And it was just like, what are the odds? And then I think there was a little something in the news. There was like a blip, but yeah, it was like no one could, all the people we talked to there couldn't figure out why the hell is he coming to Boise, Idaho? And of all the days, it was when us and Carol passed through. So it was just like very odd.
Hair sniffer on your trail? You must be doing something right.
I don't know. There was a lot of radiation in the sky that day. Boise needs a lot of help. So it's, yeah, the airport, especially that area, is so militarized. It's gross. So.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Matt, how you feeling about this episode?
Did I finish the whole moon rant? Did I get to the very end where I think it's weird that the full moon always comes up at dusk? We talked about that, right? Did I get to the very conclusion of my epiphany?
Just hit us with it again.
I know I listed off all the reasons why the moon is suspect, but I don't know if I concluded with every time there's this pivotal full moon, it's coming up right at this perfect time when the sun goes down. Oh yeah, no, I sang the song and everything. Yeah, no, it's interesting to think about. I think the show's great. And I think though that, I got nothing else to say except for you all are awesome. And I love that Lindsay chimed in and I can't wait to do this again sometime. And check out actualactivists.com, Frankenstein's the movie, sparrowgear.com, Sparrow Gear Instagram, Matt Landman on Facebook, and more to come. But actualactivists.com is totally blowing up. There's a daily blog on there, and I'm featuring memes and stuff, and I'm doing a video vlog, Truth Booth. It's going to be kind of like a YouTube thing, but I'm also opening it up for social media and a platform as like a truth podcast TV guide kind of thing to show off all these awesome truthers out there, because so many people don't know about so much awesome outlets for truth. So check out Actual Activists, please, with a S at the end. And if you haven't seen Frankenskies or you want a Frankenskies DVD in your living room, don't be a stranger. Hit me up, frankenskies@gmail.com.
If you buy some Sparrow gear, I hear that Matt just throws in Frankenskies DVDs all the time with the Sparrow purchases.
I do all the time, and you can buy it for $3 on the website too. But I do all the time throw in just the DVD for cool peeps, for sure. That's true.
I'll drop all those links. I'm gonna play some or show a couple memes that were in the chat channel before we wrap up, and then I've got a fun song video from my buddy Dean that we can kind of hang out in. Lindsay says she's sorry. She keeps yelling. I'm going to play this out with music because I like to do that. It's a cool music video. Homie is creative as all get out. Super good song. And I'll be in the chats typing with you guys while we watch that music video if you guys want to hang for that. I don't know if you like music, but I do. So over here on the Vibrant call-in line, would have loved to have taken more call-ins, but this is just, this was how it went today, and it was phenomenal. Alan wanted to know if the chemicals they're spraying can turn the vegetables gay, because this came up on his Instagram feed, gay VeggieTale.
To quickly answer that, Atrazine is an herbicide studied by Tyrone. I forget the guy's name. Syngenta hired Tyrone Jones, I think. Either way, Syngenta makes frogs flip their sex, and it's an herbicide, and it's sprayed on almost everything that's not that is GMO. And so organic food doesn't have it on it, but it's all in the water and it's all over the place. So really quick, that whole Alex Jones and Chemtrails turn frogs gay, that was a confusion, disinformation kind of psyop thing to make us look like Looney Tunes talking about chemtrails.
Bill Hicks has always been good making us look bad since he did his whole had his whole Alex Jones operation.
Chemtrails have nothing to do with turning frogs gay. They may have hormone disruptors in them, but more so the frogs are flipping their sex. The certain species of frogs, Tyrone Hayes is his name, it just came to me, and he studied, Syngenta hired Tyrone Hayes to study their product, atrazine, an herbicide, and he was supposed to come out and say that it's all good and safe, and he came out and said, these frogs are flipping their sexes, they're turning from male to female because of the atrazine. It's actually a total endocrine hormone disruptor. It's horrible. And to kind of like mix two conspiracies and make everyone seem stupid, Alex Jones and the media and everyone, whatever, chemtrails make frogs gay. But to answer your question, vegetables gay, oh, that's just a joke. It's a great meme. Oh, yeah, and the gay, whatever.
Alan's a jokester. Yeah, you get used to him.
You guys, it's a good thing, though, that it's secluded only to frogs and that it would never, like, jump over and affect humans in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, there's definitely not some kind of agenda.
Yeah, totally. Nothing agenda-driven about that, so.
Also, I got to say, the book Animorphs, that book series, go read it if you want some novels. It was written for young adults or like teenagers in the 90s, but they're like my favorite young adult fiction or kids fiction, teenager fiction. I don't know. It's super prescient to what's going on now. It's about a group of 5 kids. They're like 13 that they meet an alien at his crash ship who's dying, and he's been fighting a war in space to protect humanity from this invading force of parasitic aliens that are like these crazy worms that go into people's ear and they control their brain, and they've infiltrated the government and all levels of society, and they're taking over the world. And this good guy alien gives the 5 kids the power technologically to transform into any animal that they can first touch. And once they've touched the animal, they can become it anytime that they want. And so you got these kids turning into like tigers and elephants and stomping ass on the bad guys. And it's such a good book series. Also really gives you a look into the psychological conditions of having to fight a war. And it's a way above its belt weight for being a kid's book series. It's super, super good. Really, really like Animorphs. I'm not getting paid to promote that book series, but if anyone reads all 60 books and wants to talk to me about it, please do. We'll start like a private Telegram group and talk about Animorphs the way that Alan likes to talk about Neverending Story. Got one more meme here. This is a funny one. I don't know what the context is, but it is funny. Thank you, sir.
Oh, there it is. It took me a minute. That's great. That's fantastic, actually.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, wait, there is one more. It's from Lindsay. I've seen this one. 1 second. It's in a different format, so got to pull it up. Okay. This is a good way to close it out. This is our future, guys. Stephanie wants to know how one creates earth pipes.
I would love to say I just spent a long time making a tutorial specifically on that. It's on my website. Just go to the Orgone Energy tab and select from the drop down. It says downloads, tutorials, and instructions, and it's very, very detailed. It's exactly like the types of pipes I'm making for my project, and you can't screw it up. So go there.
And there's a lot of good comments I want to put up on the chat, but I think you answered that question well. We can wrap it up. Matt, I'm going to post all your links in these chat channels too while we watch the outro video, but if you got anything you want to leave us with, please do. And also, you are more than welcome to come vibrant with me anytime. There is not too many times. I'm super into hanging out with you, brother. You're a total badass.
Thank you, and nice to meet you, Mitch, and thank you so much for having me on. And to completely answer the question of whether or not vegetables can turn gay, when you mess with the sun light cycles of plants with chemtrails and whatnot, and they get confused and don't know what time of year it is, as you know, if you've learned to grow plants and whatnot, the light cycle can make plants turn into hermaphrodites, and then they seed themselves and things get really gnarly. So the answer is yes. Can chemtrails turn plants gay? Or whatever the answer to the question. Was it gay? Was the word gay? Am I not PC? Am I going to is the YouTube police going to come in?
As a
now?
gay person, you have my blessing to talk exactly how you're talking, please.
Say the word gay, because I also say the word black because I'm from DC. I think I'm okay to say gay and black because of where I grew up and who I grew up around. That's just my upbringing. So plants turn into hermaphrodites if you mess up their light cycles. So chemtrails, they mess with light cycles, and it's just a slippery slope. Love everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Matt, thank you for letting me kind of partially hijack your show, but it's super awesome to meet you, at least for now, through the screen. But I got introduced to both of you on, I think it was on Chance's show. And so anyway, it's a super pleasure for me to chat with you. So thank you.
Thank you, likewise. And speaking of scarcity and lack thereof, Sedona in the middle of desert is actually an oasis on top of a massive aquifer, a beautiful water source. So there is no water shortage, and they want us to be scared into thinking, we need to geoengineer, blah, 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 blah. We talked about it. Love everyone. Watch Frankenskies. Check out Mitch's stuff, and watch some InnerVerse episodes along with Rogue Ways. Lindsay, she's super supportive. And thank you, everyone, for being.
Oh, and False Reality Check is over on Rockfin, has been chatting with us too. I got to say.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Is
that a show? That's a show?
Be on them too. They're a newer show, but they are the bee's knees. Legs from one of the co-hosts from that show was on Lindsay's last night, and that was fun. I watched that.
That's great. I love shows. I love everyone. Thanks, Chance.
Yeah, call Matt for a show, False Reality Check. He's down to help everybody, All right, man. I didn't even get to some of the goofy news stuff that I had pulled up, like cowpokes in your salad. Scientists growing medicine-filled plants to replace injections. The goal is to have this mRNA technology embedded in your garden.
No way. Send me that, bro. I need all these things.
Screen
is
share
this
this
real?
one too.
Is this real news?
Yeah, dude. This is real.
Is that like tobacco?
Here it is. It's probably gonna get us in trouble because it's got the V word right there on the screen.
Yeah,
How dare we? But yeah, this is a
fantastic.
real article. Let me I'll put it in the chat. I'll send this to you after an email. I know that's the easiest way for you, Matt.
I love it. Yeah, I love emails.
Or how about iPhones to detect depression, cognitive decline, and anxiety in users? That's kind of like smoking a cigarette that can detect for cancer.
Yeah, people learn
That's
about
what James
blue
Evan
light.
Pilato said on Media Monarchy when he talked about this story today. I was like, that guy's got jokes for days.
Matt, I was going to tell you, I got the same message that you got about the phone. Mine's on life support at this point. I still have a dumb phone. It's like an iPhone, sucks ass, but it's not going to work, I think, after December because it's not one of the new ones. So we, in our household, it's like, well, this was it. So no more smartphone.
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait to just do smoke signals and pigeons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up, guys. I'm about to, like I said, play some music. I'll link to the song. I'll link to Matt. I'll link to Mitch. All that's going to be flying in the Rockfin and YouTube chats as we play out with these tunes. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Vibrant is the best. Have so much fun with this. Love the tribe. Love Matt. Love Mitch. Much love to everybody. Love is how we win. Love, love, love. Always make the love-filled choice. Make that choice. And actually, it's multiple choice because love is all about the possibilities. All right. We out of here.
Thanks, Chance.
Thanks, guys.
I'm a rectangle love, rectangle far. I want you to lay here right with me. Know that we could see this big tangle tree. I tell you what, line with the tangle time. I know you want me down with the tangle line. Bottoms up, bed, tangle, mango line. Talking about the red tangle, tangle time.